Hello, RoahmMythril here once again. Just an announcement video to let everyone know a couple of things going on right now. I do have more MagMammal 2 recorded, just not edited yet, and don't really have time tonight, but I should have more ready to go for tomorrow. However, these are a couple of important points I wanted to get out there, so here we go. First, the really important one. This is mainly a message to my supporters on Patreon, or anyone considering supporting me there. There are some changes going on over there that I wanted to make sure to discuss. If they did what they said they were going to do, everyone that supports me should have gotten contacted about this by now, but I just wanted to cover it here. I didn't want it to seem like I either didn't care about the issue or was trying to keep it hidden or what have you. Essentially, Patreon is changing the way they handle processing fees. Previously, processing fees were handled by the creators. All pledges were collected at the start of the month, Patreon took their cut and the fees, and the creator got what was left. Under the new system, those fees are instead handled by the patrons, that is, my supporters. The way it breaks down is that when you make a payment, they tack the processing fee onto it now, which is, I think, 2.9% plus 35 cents. So, say you made a monthly pledge of $1, it would now be $1.38 if I'm working that out right. From what they say, on this system, the creator ends up getting 95% of the total pledges, whereas before it was more in the neighborhood of the mid to high 80s range, with occasional variance one way or the other. Something to that effect. It's all worded very confusingly, and it's been rather a mess. My friend Shag found this graph from Twitter user Wombat Overlord, which, let's take a moment to appreciate that name, that explains it perhaps a bit better and shows how the new rules affect different levels of pledges. I think most of my supporters are around the $2 level, so this shows more how they'd be affected. Basically, it seems to hit lower pledge levels the hardest. A lot of people have pointed out that this may turn people off to donating via Patreon, and Patreon themselves have been rather questionable in their responses to criticism of the new system. It basically leaves me hoping for one of three outcomes. 1. Patreon realizes that making trouble for their clients is going to come back to bite them, and they abandon the changes. 2. The changes don't end up being quite as bad as we fear. 3. A competitor starts up that handles a recurring pledge system better. I am open to suggestions on that, but currently, I don't know of any comparable systems. All that being said, I don't want it to sound like I'm just in this for the money, far from it. Unless someone specifically gives me a message with a donation stating it's just for fun money to do with as I like, I put everything from Patreon back into my channel. My supporters on Patreon are the only reason I have Groose now and am thus able to continue making videos. You guys rock. I'd honestly just as soon keep handling the processing fees myself rather than putting that burden on my supporters, and I even wrote Patreon's feedback line to suggest making the new method something creators could opt into if they wanted the new method, or they could stay with what they currently have. I haven't heard anything back, but it sounds like they're pretty determined to go ahead with it. The unfortunate bit is this is pretty much the only source of income I really have to keep fueling my endeavors to keep the channel going. I use Patreon funds for new recording equipment, renewing my site space, helping out with a monthly bill for our internet service, that sort of thing. Basically, I'm hoping to hear from my supporters there, get their take on things, how they feel about the situation. If it ends up being too much extra to pay, I certainly understand. I just hope I can kind of get some idea of where my situation here stands, and especially if anyone knows any reputable alternatives I could look into. My main requirements would just be that it's a recurring pledge system similar to Patreon's structure, and that it can hopefully work via PayPal. Like, two other systems I've heard of are Ko-fi and Drip. The trouble with Ko-fi is apparently the minimum donation is $3, and you can only donate in multiples of $3 for some reason I'm not sure of, and you can't set it up as a recurring pledge. Like I said, I think most of my Patreon supporters pledge $2, so ironically, Ko-fi would actually be worse on them in that regard. As for Drip, that one's apparently not even available to everyone yet. I've been told it's supposed to open in early 2018, though exactly when and how exactly it's supposed to work, I don't know anything about that. So, enough of this stressful subject for the moment, and on to the other, also stressful thing. You've likely noticed my uploads slowed down. There's a happy reason and an annoying reason for this. The happy reason is just spending some holiday time with my family. We did some decorating a couple of nights ago, enjoyed the sudden snowstorm we got, and tonight we watched a couple of Christmas movies, one of which, Scrooged, I'd been meaning to see but never got around to it, so I can officially say I've finally watched that one. The more annoying / actually in the way reason, our internet is borked. It's a very inconsistent breakage as well. Basically, this started after some rather frequent rain we got right before the snowfall. Our net is doing this thing where suddenly for no reason it drops out. The sky's nice and clear, no obstruction on the dish, but it just drops, specifically the transmit portion of the system. It receives just fine, but transmit goes down and takes the rest of the system with it. It'll then come back up, but it never stays. Sometimes I get good stretches where it works fine, but then down it goes, and it can start going down rapidly like every 2 minutes, and stay down for almost 10 minutes. My uncle went up on the roof to look at the dish, and apparently there's actually a crack in the transmitter, likely due to all our sudden rapid weather shifts we were getting. That's all I can guess anyway. I mean, the dish did suddenly have a lot of snow and ice on it out of nowhere. We'll be calling a technician tomorrow, so it'll just depend on how quickly they can get out here and get us up and running again. I'll keep recording more MagMammal 2 in the meantime. As to if I'll actually be able to get them uploaded or not, that remains to be seen. I'll keep trying at any rate. So, pretty much that's all I wanted to cover. Just wanted to get the Patreon news out there, get some feedback on that, and let you know about the internet situation. So, hopefully I can get back on a more regular schedule soon once that's fixed. Thank you very much for watching, thank you for your support, and I shall see you again next time. Until then, fare thee well.